I've been guilty over the years of being stuck in a trap called shiny object syndrome. As a soft tissue practitioner, I see many other practitioners being in that loop as well. We want to have every tool available in our treatment tool belt and try to take every available training out there in the hopes of finding the next breakthrough treatment, only to get lackluster results and go and search again for the next new thing. We get stuck in a loop of being a jack of all trades and master of none. In this episode, I share some insights on actually doing less quantity of training and treatments, but instead focusing on mastering the ones that produce the best results and focusing solely on that. Instead of trying to have a tool belt full of subpar treatment options, the focus should be on having less, but more effective tools to actually fix the problem for good. I hope you enjoy the show. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Revolution podcast, where we teach self-employed massage therapists a new treatment system that focuses on working smarter, not harder, allowing them to cut their treatment times by 50% so they can stay healthy and help more people get out of pain. Dr. Matt Maggio here. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the show. Let's jump right into it. Do you need more tools in your tool belt, or you just need to sharpen the ones you already have? I'm going to do a little bit of a real talk here where I just kind of riff and rant a little bit, and I hope you bear with me. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts clear and concise, but the first problem that I end up seeing is we're all guilty of what I call shiny object syndrome. You know, we always want the newest, greatest, quick fix type of thing, especially as soft tissue practitioners and manual therapists. We're taking every course across the board. I remember when I was in school, even when I got out, my whole wall was littered with every certification, every training that you could ever take. And I just wanted more. I was always in search for this new and next thing that was going to produce these amazing results and amazing treatment. And then I'd go to a seminar. I'd be so excited. I'd come home and every one of my clients would get that type of treatment. I'd be ready to roll. I was all in on it. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, lackluster results, not getting what I want. So instead of being like, hey, am I focusing and diving in on the true intricacies of this system, or am I just kind of half-assing it and just trying it out? You know, you go to a weekend seminar, how much can you really learn in one weekend seminar? You can learn a lot, but not enough where you can be really good and proficient at it. So then instead of being like, hey, I really need to invest in this and really double down on what's going on, I'd start looking for the next course. That's that shiny object syndrome. We always want something new and fresh instead of looking at the tools that we actually have. Another issue that I end up seeing, and we're really bad at this as soft tissue and musculoskeletal practitioners, is understanding what treatment actually is and what treatment is like a medication. And you can do enough to be effective, but you can actually overtreat and cause bigger problems down the road. And what happens, I think, is that so many of us use so many different modalities, so many different treatments, and we're doing too much. You know, I look at an injury, and that's where I kind of talk a little bit more about, I'm in the therapeutic type of world. I just want to fix and solve injuries. I'm not down with the relaxation and stuff like that. I think relaxation is important, but it's not going to actually fix the problem. So I'm more of a therapeutic person. And what I like to look at is like treatment dosage. And I want to get about 5 to 7% better per visit. You know, a lot of people are just over treating and they're causing big problems. And we're built with this bias as practitioners, with this idea that we know with treatment it can go, you know, two ways. Maybe it will help them feel a little bit better and get them functioning better, or it might not do anything. We never really think about the third part, that we could actually do more damage by over-treating and doing so much. You know, a lot of times when people have really bad injuries, chronic injuries, there's a lot of components involved in that. It's not just a soft tissue injury. There could be damage to the disc, to the joint, to the cartilage, to the tendon. And those areas are really beat up and they can't handle a lot of treatment. So if you're trying to just throw everything at it, you're going to actually have diminished gains and actually make the problem worse. You know, imagine, say someone comes into the doctor's office and they have an infection and they need to take an antibiotic. The doctor tells them to take 1 per day, not all 10. And that's what's happening when you're doing too much treatment. You're actually overly effective, and that can cause problems Then we get into the kitchen sink problem. Let's just throw everything at it in one treatment. Let's do some deep tissue work. Let's do some stretching. Let's do some cupping. Let's do some corrective exercises. There's so many things, and you're throwing so many different variables. How do you know what's actually working? And people will say, well, they all work, but it's like you can't really isolate each one of those variables. And the more variables you add to a complex problem, the more confusing it is. So it's like you're doing everything, but how do you know what actually works? And you're like, well, the client wants me to do all these things and they expect it. No, they don't. They want you to fix their problem, and they want you to use the best tools possible going forward. I've said this a lot before about certifications and trainings and ego and all that kind of stuff. And I was one of the worst at this. I thought I needed to have all these letters after my name, all these fancy trainings, and like, look at my wall of success. I'm the best, blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't getting actual results, because at the end of the day, the big change for me is when I started realizing that nobody cares about what you do or how you do it. They just care that you can do it. They're not searching specifically for someone that does this one thing. They're like, oh, I need this person to do this. They're like, hey, my shoulder fucking hurts. I need someone that can actually fix it. Pretty simple, but it's a big change that I had. And everyone's like, they're so tied to their treatment and what they do, and it becomes their identity. They're like, I'm trained in this, or I'm a master in this, or I'm a level 10, whatever. But nobody cares except for you. What people care about is that, can you actually tell them what their problem is? Do you have the tools to actually fix it? And are you confident that you can fix it? That's what really makes or breaks a really good practice. Next thing I want to jump into is, I've talked about this a lot, but it's worth, visiting over and over again. Are you actually doing treatment, or are you actually doing maintenance? There's a big difference. And I honestly feel that about 95% of soft tissue practitioners out there aren't actually doing treatment. They're actually doing maintenance. And that might piss you off and make you a little butthurt, but it's the truth, because treatment itself is removing a pathology. I talk about this in my training modules, and I've made a lot of videos about this. Actual treatment is reducing a pathology. There's only 7 potential problems in the human body. There can be a bone problem, a cartilage problem, a disc problem, a ligament problem, a nerve problem, a soft tissue problem, and a tendon problem. If you're actually doing treatment, you're helping to reduce one or more of those pathologies. If you're not, then you're actually doing maintenance. Another key criteria for treatment is it must be safe, it must be effective, and it must be durable. Yeah, most treatments out there are pretty safe. You're not going to do a ton of damage unless you're like taking an instrument and beating the living shit out of somebody and creating bruising and all this type of shit. That is not treatment, but effective. The problem for the effective part of the treatment is we're always focusing on like subjective data, like how does the client feel? And we're focused on the symptoms. But the problem is the symptoms can caused by so many other factors. It could be stress, it could be diet, it could be lack of sleep, dehydration, all of that. And if they're only judging how they're doing based off how they feel, it's not going to give you any real long-lasting results. What I always look at is we have to improve function. If we're only improving symptoms, we're not improving function, it's actually very dangerous, because it's like you shut the check engine light off and you didn't fix anything, and then the car blows up. And the last component, this is where most people miss the boat, and pretty much I'd say 99% of treatment modalities or trainings out there, durable. Does the treatment last? Anyone can make you feel good temporarily. You can get an adjustment. You might feel good for 2 or 3 days, but is that going to really last? What's durable with the treatment is that you get long lasting results. Can this client go 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in between treatment, and you have actual objective data and measurements with functional tests to know that they're doing better? You're not solely relying on just how they feel. You're looking at how they function. Because I always say, in order to get it to feel better, you got to get it to move better first. So my challenge to you with this podcast, and why I made this podcast this week, is pick the best treatment modality or what you do that fits in the above treatment definition, and focus on that one and do it better than anyone else. And you'll be amazed at the type of results that you get, because you're just doing too much treatment, and it's not good treatment. It's subpar. Pick the one thing that you know makes the biggest difference. It's going to reduce some of those pathologies that we talked about. It's going to get them functioning better. It's going to be long lasting, and dive into those ones. That's where the whole idea of sharpen the tools you already have. You have things in your tool belt that work, but you're using so many things that you don't really know where to go. You want to have 2 or 3 really go-to things that are going to make the biggest difference. It's going to be safe, effective, and durable. The key is that durable component, and stop doing shit that is actually considered maintenance, because you're better than that. You want to be an injury solver. You want to be someone that actually fixes problems and gets rid of people's pain for good, not temporarily. Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So that's all I got for you guys on this episode. Couple just calls to action. Number one is like, focus on being a problem solver. The world needs more problem solvers. Quit trying to be relaxation and therapeutic and all sorts of other things. Be one thing and solve one specific problem, because at the end of the day, specialists get paid 10 times more than generalists. I want you to be that specialist. And it all starts with going through my free training. I know I talk about it all the time, but I put a lot of really good information and useful stuff in there to get you to think critically. Change your mindset around the idea that you're not just a massage therapist. You're someone that actually fixes problems. You can become a true soft tissue specialist and just be so much better than everyone else out there. Even the chiropractors, the physical therapists, and the orthopedic doctors, people are going to come to you because you have that reputation that you fix shit that other people can't fix, because the world needs more problem solvers. And I want you to have this desire and this drive to be so damn good that nobody can ignore you. And I can help you with that. That's what my courses are designed to do. I don't talk about them a lot. I don't brag about them a lot, but my shit is better than anything else out there. And that's not me being biased or, ego driven. It's just, I put a lot of time and effort in there, and the results really show. When people actually implement my system, you're able to double what you charge overnight, and you're going to get long lasting results. You're going to get the type of practice and business that you truly want, you truly desire, and you get the reputation of actually fixing shit that other people can't do. Go out there and be great, because it's the only thing that truly pays. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you want help on the path to being able to double your income, all while working 50% less and being taken seriously as a healthcare provider, I have some great resources for you. Number one, get access to our free training modules and introduction to my system, the Peak Method. Number two, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Soft Tissue Revolution. Links to all of this can be found in the show notes. Lastly, if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with others that you know it could help.